And in order to understand this point, you have to understand upward mobility. And upward mobility is the ability to move from a lower social class to a higher social class. So this is important for the economy because the degree of difficulty moving from one social class to another will determine the success of a geographical area. And Senator Marco Rubio said, "The truth is, the greatest tool to lift children and families from poverty is one that decreases the probability of child poverty by 82%. In many conservative minds, the only solution that meets the criterion is traditional marriage." The next subtopic of this topic is poverty is the cause of single mothers, and this is...
Bless you, I'm sorry. Bless you.
And this is the liberal point of view. On the other side of the argument are the liberals. They believe that single parenting is actually a side effect of poverty. This meaning that single parenting originates from poverty rather than being the cause. The strain of poverty is hard on families and may cause some relationships to terminate. There's also the problem of decreasing job opportunities for those who have not received a secondary education. According to William Julius Wilson, one of the prerequisites to a stable marriage is a job. Evidence that supports the liberal argument is poverty is caused by high inequality and low mobility. Postponing childbirth only increases your likelihood of escaping poverty by a little. And there are less jobs available for those who received a college education. To go into further detail about the second bullet, people tend to believe that waiting to have children will increase your likelihood of escaping poverty. But because your chance of escaping only increases by a little, that is not enough of a margin to conclude that waiting to get married and have children you will eventually escape the horrors and misfortunes of poverty. Many studies have been done on this particular issue, and some support the conservative point of view and others the liberal. There is not a concrete answer to this nationwide question, and it simply depends on how you define poverty, your ideology, and your opinion on the power of single parents versus married parents.
Okay, so as Elon referenced, there's a lot of competition for jobs. A quote that we saw while we were researching this is, single mothers are competing in the labor market with one hand tied behind their backs and entrenched inequality. So what that's saying is it's already hard enough for single mothers to get jobs, but on top of the fact that there's so many single mothers, as like the single mother population is rising within the last 20 years, it's even harder for them to get the jobs available. And according to the American Job Exchange, employers tend not to hire single mothers because they look for reliable employees, and they suspect that single mothers aren't going to show up to work on account of their kids, which is, it's hard for them to get jobs. So the jobs that women most occupied by women in America are the top 20 here. Secretaries, registered nurses, teachers, cashiers, nursing. Most of these jobs don't make a lot of money, and it'd be hard to support kids on most of these jobs by yourself. Amanda's not here, so can we skip her slides?
I'm sorry?
Amanda's not here.
Can we skip her slides?
Okay.
So can we skip her slides?
Just go on. She's not here, so go on.
Okay. Many people have researched and looked at the effects of single motherhood on children. And some of the main topics that I came across were how single motherhood affects education and emotions of the children. So single mothers may not be able to afford items like books or home computers or tutors in order to help their children succeed in school because of their low income. Also, multiple transitions or changes like step-parents, boyfriends or girlfriends, step or half siblings can negatively affect the academics of the children because of the emotional effect also. the National Household Education Survey's Parent and Family Involvement Survey found that Black students in two-parent homes tend to get better GPAs, which is in two-parent homes, on average, Black students get a 3.1 GPA, and in mother-only homes, the children only get 3.0, and in father-only it is 2.9, so there's clearly a decline. And the ACS, or the American Community Survey, found that Black males from two-parent homes were really off track, more than 2 grades behind by 9th grade. 7.7% of Black males from two-parent homes were off track. And in mother-headed families, 10.6 Black males were 2 grades behind by 9th grade. So single motherhood increased their likelihood to be behind. Virginia Knox, a researcher, found that with every $100 of child support, the score increases by, SAT score increased by 1/8 to 7/10 of a point. And the emotional support from the father in these relationships also helped increase their scores. And a study at Cornell University says that positive parenting, positive single parenting, didn't show a negative impact on the child's education. Also, it increases the child's likelihood to have responsibility skills and have close bonds with their parents. And the emotional effect. Single mothers may be teens or not in a real committed relationship, which can cause drama in their lives and affect the children. Fragile families and child well-being study found that 60% of low-income children will have at least one half-sibling when they're born, and by 5, it grows to 70%. Again, the transitions changes are likely to lead to emotional problems. And 75% of children of divorce suffer from no pathologies, according to Katie Rofi, a journalist or author who wrote a book actually on single parents. And according to Sarah McLanahan at Princeton University, boys are significantly more likely to end up in jail by 30 if raised by single mothers. And the Single Parent Success Foundation found that 63% of suicides nationwide are from individuals from single parent families. More than half of all youth incarcerated in the U.S. lived in one-parent families as children. And according to the research by the University of Washington's West Coast Poverty Center, low self-esteem and increased anger and frustration tend to come from single parents. And also the positive effects of single motherhood depend on the personality of the child and the parenting techniques used by the parent.
These are just some sources that we have.
Okay. Did you, in any of these studies, do they talk about any differences with extended families, if they're involved with helping the single mother or not?
We didn't see anything about that, so maybe just.
While I was looking it up, it mostly focused on the father's involvement and the balance between having a mother in your life and a father and how it affects you actively and emotionally.
So do any of these statistics define any one of you
Well, I live only with my mother, and I can say that to me, I don't suffer from this. I feel like I'm perfectly fine. My parents went through a divorce. I didn't have any problem with that. I have an average of a 3.6 most of the time, so I don't feel like.
So you don't define these statistics, so it doesn't relate to you.
And I live, did you want to go?
I mean, I can.
Oh, both of my parents are married, and we all live in the same house, and I don't really see a difference between my grades and my friends whose parents are divorced and living in two separate houses.
I also am a child of divorce. These. The first. Actually, I was a part of this statistic at first, before my mother got remarried. We were in a rough space. I mean, it's real. It was a time where it was literally, you saw us slide hard out here in these streets. We were in a rough space. There was like issues getting daycare, and my mother wasn't getting paid enough for the job that she was qualified to do. She had a degree in biology, but they weren't going to hire her because they thought she was going to leave for her kids. It's cool now, we're fine. We live in Southbrook West, but.
That's cute.
But.
Oh, he has an accent you were doing.
But those statistics, they're real. That was us. Any further questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. Did you find that in between the liberals and the liberal and conservative points of view, did they use the same evidence and just interpret it differently, or did they tend to use completely different sets of evidence?
It was a correlation. Like they showed a graph of evidence, and so the conservatives took it as, because like 50% of the single mothers were under the poverty line, so they took it as single mothers are the cause of poverty, and then the liberals took it as the poverty caused single mothers. Like because there's poverty, that's why there's 50% of single mothers are under the poverty line. So they both they interpreted it two different ways, but it was the same graph.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I do have one piece of additional information though. What we skipped over was the wage gap, and it was talking about how hard it is, well, supporting how hard it is for a single mother to support their children. And the fact that they get paid close to 64 cents, women of color get paid close to 64 cents of what, to the dollar, of what a white man or a married man actually gets paid. Because it turns out that married women or divorced women make more money than single mothers or single women for some reason. Unmarried women tend to make less money than married women. So, combined with the fact that as of 2013, it costs $241,000 a year to raise a child, while most single mothers are on average making around $50,000 a year. There's definitely a difference of opportunities between married couples and single mothers. Not even bringing up tax breaks. Married couples tend to get a lot, get more benefits by registering as married on tax forms, while single mothers get negative effects by that. So.
Okay. And for the record, the first couple of slides didn't get recorded. But that was my fault. It went to sleep just as I hit record and I didn't realize it.
Here answers another part of the answer for the question that you asked me about the liberal and the conservative point of view. It also plays into, because liberals like government help and the conservatives like for the government to stay out of people's lives. So I think that plays into their opinion on the women in poverty, single mothers in poverty, because they think that the government shouldn't help them and that they should only help themselves, and they call them welfare queens. And so they think that they're just having children because they know they're going to get money, and they think that the government should stay out of their lives, while the liberals think that we should help them. And so it's just their point of view.
And just to quickly add something, while I was researching, I also found that about the liberals and the conservatives, that the actual government helping them can negatively impact the children because it may not affect the children this year or the ones coming in the next few years, but like maybe 10 years from now, the children will more likely be in poverty because of the fact that they're receiving government funding and no one's working to get out of poverty.
Yeah.
Okay.